Greetings and salutations. I will just warn you right now, I'm sick, so my voice kind of sounds like crap, and I'll do my best not to cough, but it's been happening, so I will try. There we go. If you're new to the channel, I basically watch a movie and I sit down and I talk about it immediately following my viewing of said film. What does that mean? That means completely unscripted, no jump cuts, nothing like that. I'm trying to do something completely raw, for better or for usually worse. That's just what I'm going for. If that's cool, hope you enjoy. If not, I wouldn't blame you for clicking out of here. Anyway, we're watching the third installment of Friday the 13th because guess what day it is? And that was cool. Lights just decided to dim. Maybe Jason's in my apartment. I don't know. Anyway, we've been doing this tradition of every Friday the 13th, I watch and review a Friday the 13th film. So we're on number 3 now. Cool. I think there's one more this year too, actually, so I guess I'll be doing 4 at some point. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is 3. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this film and you don't want it spoiled, you probably want to skip the next part. You can go right to the thoughts section in the timestamp there, or go right to the rating if you don't even care about my thoughts and you just want to see what I think about it for some reason. Yeah, you can do that. Also, I will let you know that there is a... Oh, wow, I'm at 5% battery. That's not good. Well, oh boy. You know what? I am actually going to do a jump cut because I'm going to go get a charger and plug it in right now. Hang tight.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Okay. Let's try this again. I'm at 100% now. That was fun. What was I talking about again? Right, I watched a movie, didn't I? Anyway, I don't even remember. So, yeah, spoilers if I didn't do that. You know the drill. Let's just begin. So, here's the synopsis again. There'll be spoilers. So, we start the film with the ending sequence of part 2. So, spoiler alert for part 2, if you haven't seen that. So far it's kind of been along the lines of you need to watch them in a row or else you're going to get the ending of the previous one spoiled. So you kind of don't want to watch them out of order. I don't know if the whole series is like this. Like I said, I'm going through these movies now for like the first time, right? So, call me an amateur. Anyway, whatever. So, that out of the way, we have the whole scene with Jenny and boyfriend versus Jason, all that kind of stuff, except Jason's not dead at the end. He like gets up and we get our first well, you know what, the scene, okay, so the thing about this movie is it was filmed with 3D in mind throughout the entire thing. So that first scene is blatant 3D. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. That you just have to see on your own and laugh because it's kind of hilarious and great at the same time. Anyway, long story short, we get our first like cannon fodder establishing Jason kills. So we got some couple living out in like a, I don't know, roadside rural convenience store or something like that, and they're obviously madly in love because the woman's yelling at the dude constantly, and they have like clotheslines, which is crazy. I don't know. I remember when I was very, very young, I think my mom used a clothesline, but like maybe, I don't even know if those still exist. Or maybe I'm just privileged. I have no idea. Anyway, whatever. So he's hanging clothes on the clothesline or something, and she's yelling at him for taking too long or something like that. And he's inside the store, like eating his own produce and stuff, and whatever. He's got like a rabbit, and long story short, he hears a noise. He goes to investigate it, and Jason, he does what he does, right? So that's fun. Oh yeah, the dude like eats fish food for whatever reason, and then he's reading the ingredients. He's like, mayfly eggs. Well, it's fish food, dude. Like, what do you expect? Anyway, so yeah, he goes and he takes a shit, and then Jason kills him, and then the wife comes looking for him, and she's taking the clothes off the clothesline, and Jason kills her, and there you go. There's your first deaths of the movie. I'm gonna spare you the insane details. Anyway, we're introduced to our main characters of the story. So we have Chris, who's like our lead. She's our main character, I guess, but we also have other characters. We have Debbie and Andy, who Debbie's pregnant and Andy's the boyfriend, and all they do is bang. So like they're like the sex couple, so that's good. We're getting into stereotypes. That's fantastic. We got no, we really are. We got the two stoners. That's mandatory. We have the prankster. So Shelly, he's the prankster, and his blind date Vera, who, I mean, I don't know. She like sort of warms up to him, kind of a little bit, but kind of not. There's this whole thing. It's not super important. Anyway, they head out to Chris's old, like, she grew up on like a lakefront house or something like that, and that lake, it's Crystal Lake, Camp Crystal Lake thing. Wow, words are really easy for me. Anyway, so she goes there and they're all setting it up, and then like see, I always have this problem where I like take forever to tell the synopsis of the story, so I'm really gonna try to blow through this quickly because I want like a review that's less than 20 minutes for once. So I'm gonna try to speed this up. So okay, let's establish what happens to these people. So Shelly is a prankster, like I said. His first prank before he even meets his blind date is he has like a mask on, he has like a fake knife, and he like stabs one of the guys, and it's, I don't know if it's like a nod to like Halloween or something, but anyway, he does that. And then there's another prank when they're at the campground area thing where he like fakes his own death by having like a fake meat cleaver in his head when he's stuffed in a closet, and everyone screams and they're all mad at him. And anyway, he has a little heart-to-heart with Vera, and he's like, oh man, like, she's like, why do you always do this shit? And he's basically says, I just want you to like me. And she's like, I do like you, just not when you're being an idiot. So I mean, there you go, bud. Calm down, stop doing the stupid shit, and you'll be good. What does he do later? Well, he pranks her again. So that's, you know, you live, you learn, right? Anyway, those two decide to go into town, I guess, to have a little bonding thing and pick up some snacks or beer or whatever the hell kids are picking up these days. And they run into some bikers, because that's cool. Bikers sort of half-ass harass them in the store, take their wallet and gives it back to them, so I don't know. Anyway, they're about to leave, and Shelly backs the car up, and it accidentally hits one of the bikers' bikes, and he comes running out, and he smashes their window, and they drive off, and then they come back, and they hit his bike again and drive off. So obviously the bikers are pissed off, so they follow them to the cabin. And their plan is to get him back by siphoning the gas out of the big van that everyone came in and using it to burn down excuse me, sorry, I'm sick. I think I mentioned that already. Burning down the barn or whatever. So they do exactly that. They sneak onto the property. One starts siphoning gas. One of the bikers goes and checks out the barn, and they're like amazed by like farm equipment. They're like touching everything, and she's playing the drums on the wall and shit. Like, if you're trying to be quiet, why are you doing? Anyway, whatever. She gets getted, obviously, and the next guy goes in the barn saying, "Hey, where the hell are you? Quit screwing around, buddy." There, he's gonna be pissed off, and he ends up seeing her pitchfork stuck to the wall, dead. And then he gets pitchforked, and then the other guy comes, and there's a little scuffle, and Jason takes him down. So there's the bikers for you. But the car, it's established now, has no gas, which none of our heroes know, right? So that's cool. Anyway, back at the house, yeah, Shelly's like juggling, and he shoots his shot with Vera, and she's like, "No, I'm good." It's like, okay, well, you like, I don't know, maybe this happened before. I'll be real, the whole Charger thing took longer than I thought, because, yeah, anyway, but while this is still somewhat fresh in my mind, he shoots his shot, she says no, whatever. Excuse me. God, this is terrible. One of them, okay, so Debbie goes to have a bath after having like hammock sex or something, and Buddy's like, "Do you want a beer?" And she's like, "No," and Jason ends up killing her. And well, first, so Andy goes to freak her out. There's like a shadow coming. You think, oh god, it's Jason, right? Well, no, it's Andy walking around on his hands with his legs flying in the air, and scares the shit out of her. Anyway, he walks out on his hands, and he ends up dying doing a handstand. So Jason just whoosh. Well, he's, I guess, like his legs, right? So that would not be pleasant. Anyway, that's his end. She comes to investigate. She obviously gets gotten as well. We find out, meanwhile, that Chris and her boyfriend Rick, who I forgot to mention was at this place too, they like used to date or something, and then she left and she came back like months or years later or something, and he's like, so are we still a thing? And I mean, I don't know, at that point you got to assume you're not a thing, right? Because if you haven't seen someone for so long. Anyway, there's still some mild flirtations, and she tells him, she finally confesses this horror story of why she wanted to come back here. She says when she was young, 2 years ago or something, some like deformed guy like came after her, and obviously it's Jason, like no hood or mask or whatever. And that's her story. He chased her and he dragged her off, and she blacked out. When she woke up, she was in her bed, and her parents like never spoke about it ever again. And she wanted to come back to prove, you know, that she could do it. It was something along the lines of like all the massacres and stuff, and it had been long enough that I guess she figured it was safe or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's her story. So that's why she's back here. Now, how did the other people die, right? We want to know this. So, okay. I forgot to mention. So, pregnant girl gets, she's reading a Fangoria magazine, and it has a little, like, 20 years of Godzilla, and a big picture of Godzilla versus Megalon. Awesome. Very good. Recognizing the OG kaiju. Anyway, blood drips on the magazine. She looks up, she sees Andy's body all mutilated in the ceiling, and then Jason like shoves his machete like through her stomach through the bottom of the hammock, so she dies that way, so that's cool. Shelly does get got eventually, but like Vera at this point is so used to him playing stupid practical jokes that when he comes through the door with his throat slit and bleeding, she's like, oh my god, just give it up, dude. And he like collapses and dies, and she's doing her thing, and she's like, anyway, we should start going to, and then she's looking and she's like, wait, are you, oh my god, he actually is dead. So she freaks out. She gets hers too. How does she die again? Oh yeah, the stoners I forgot to mention too, they get killed as well. One's like taking a shit or something, and how did they even die? Okay, so I'm just gonna say this, like none of the kills were super fantastic. Like not super original, maybe for the time they were, but like oh, that's how Vera dies. She gets harpooned. So she's, is that Vera who died? Oh fuck, I don't even remember who's who. That's the thing about these ensemble movies, right? But anyway, I'm pretty sure it's Vera. She's at the water, and Shelly had been messing around with like a hockey mask or whatever, right? And lo and behold, after killing Shelly, he's got the hockey mask on, right? So this is the first scene that we see of Jason with the iconic hockey mask. So that's cool. So I'm finally seeing the first images of Jason as I've known him. Like I said, I've seen, I don't know, what was it like? Well, Freddy vs. Jason I think I've seen like Jason Goes to Hell maybe. I don't remember. A long, long time ago, but I've always known him as the hockey mask, right? Because that's his main look. So first two movies, first one wasn't even him. Second one, he had a hood on it, bag on his head. Now he's finally got the mask. So cool. Anyway, kills her with a harpoon gun. So yeah, at this point, Rick and Chris finally come back to the cabin. They're looking around for everyone. Like there's burnt food burning on the stove, and there's a chair over the door blocking it in and stuff. And they're like, where the hell is everyone? And she's all pissed off at like the burnt food and shit. Did everyone just leave? Like, what the hell? And they're like, Rick's like, the car's still here, right? So anyway, he goes out and looks, and I guess he takes his sweet time, because she goes outside, and it's like, Rick. And like literally around the corner of the house, you see Jason like strangling him and like covering his mouth. And so she goes back inside, I guess, not concerned. Well, she doesn't know people are dying yet, right? Anyway, we had a really good 3D scene of Jason crushing Rick's head, and his eyeball pops out. And yeah, it was very, very fake looking. Definitely done for the 3D effect, which, wow. Let's just say the effects of the eyeball coming out were about as good as my review has been so far, so that sums it up. But don't take that as me saying that I didn't find it entertaining, because it was very entertaining. Anyway, so there's this whole, finally she realizes people are dead. She finds like the biker's body at first, and then she finds other bodies and whatnot, and then there's a whole, you know, you got off the chase scene where Jason's chasing her, and he's actually moving. Like, he's still fast Jason at this point, right? So we're almost at that archetypal Jason of, you know, emotionless, zombified mask, slow moving, but catches you anyway, Jason. So we're getting there. He has a couple machete kills, and machete's like his main kill thing, right? So we're getting there. So we're at like proto Jason, I guess. I don't know if that's the right thing to say. He chases her around, and eventually she ends up like running to the barn, and she's on the rafters, and she falls and knocks him down, and then she runs back up the rafters and hides behind some hay and hits him with a shovel. And I mean, Jason's kind of incompetent in this scene, I'll be honest. Like, he's tearing apart the barn and stuff looking for her, and when he finally finds her, obviously she falls on him, and like I said, she goes up and hides, and he go up and hide, get hit in the head with a shovel, and he's out temporarily. So she quickly looks, and there's like I don't know what it's called, but it's like the rope pulley system to pull bales of hay up. So she takes the rope, puts it around Jason's neck, throws him out, hangs him. His body twitches a little bit, and he's struggling, and then he goes still. And she opens the door, and he's hanging right there, not moving, not trying to grab her. Great. I forgot to mention, oh my god. So the first time we think she killed Jason, she ends up putting like a literal fire axe into his head. Or like a firewood chopping axe. So that's good. Damages the mask. I think the mask in other movies has like that little dent from like where the axe went. Or does he get a new mask? I don't know. Anyway. That happens, and turns out he's not dead. And then we have the whole chase up the attic and the thing over the head and the hanging Jason and all that stuff. Excuse me. And then we have she also tries to get into the van too at one point to drive off, but obviously the van gets like 3 feet and then stops on a bridge because the gas, right? So that happened. What else? Jeez. She oh, my brain is like melting right now. So yeah, she leaves, she opens the doors, he's hanging, he's not moving. Great, is at the end of it. She goes into a canoe and goes out into the middle of the water in the lake, which we all know. I mean, if you've seen the first one, and well, if you've seen any of them, you know there's going to be an end scene, and lo and behold, there is. It's a mirror version of the ending of the first movie, but it's Jason's like rotted mom's corpse grabbing her and pulling her in the water, and then we have the exact same thing where paramedics taking her away, and you know, you're going to be okay, or the police or something. And then they cut to the barn, and they show Jason's body with the axe still in his head. So, I don't know what that's implying exactly. And then they show the lake shot, and then it ends. So are we saying that everything after the first time she hit him in the head with the axe and he fell, he actually was dead, but then the whole chase and the hanging and all that was like in her imagination? Was it caused by Pamela, like because she gets the last grab or whatever? Like, I don't really know what it means. But that being said, that's the movie, and we'll go into some non-spoiler stuff next. So, what did I think? It was fine. It's not. I'm kind of hoping that 4 will be the one that really hooks me. Like, I haven't really done any research on what's like the best Friday the 13th movie, but so far they've all been okay. But there's nothing that really has grabbed me and made me think, oh man, yes, this series is iconic. Like, okay, I shouldn't say that. It is iconic, and I recognize why. Even just the third movie of the hockey mask, Jason has a very specific look and a very specific style, and I get that. But I'm assuming that like 4 or 5 or 6 maybe are the ones that really establish the series as being as legendary as it is. So I'm hoping 4 is a bit of an improvement. But that said, like I said, it's not bad. I think I liked 2 a tiny bit better, and I don't really know the reason for that. I think the 3D stuff kind of pulled me out of it a lot. Like there's a lot of like, there's an eyeball there. Without giving spoilers, I think there's like an axe handle or something. There's like a spear. There's just anything that they could do to try to use 3D, like coming out of the screen at you type thing. I don't know why I'm doing it to my own face when I should be doing it like that, I guess, right? Anyway, regardless, that kind of took me out of the vibe of the film for the most part. in an entertaining way, but like at no point was I on the edge of my seat like, oh my god, is so and so gonna make it or whatever. The characters were, I mean, they were your generic stereotypes. Like, again, without going into too much spoilers, you have the sex couple, you have the stoners, you have the prankster, and then you have your main character and another dude. Like, I don't know, there wasn't really... But I mean, to be fair, it's not just Friday the 13th that did this. A lot of horror movies in the 80s did that. So, like, the 90s and 2000s and even now. So again, I'm not going to, like, destroy them for that either. It sounds like I'm shitting on this movie, but I did enjoy it. I'll be clear. I'll make that clear. I did enjoy it, but I just don't think that this one at least is as groundbreaking of a film to make the series stand out as phenomenal. The effects were hit and miss. I'll be real. Again, it's like a 1982 film, so what do you expect? But like, it's all right. Again, some were better than others. Some kills were better than others. A lot of the kills were... So this is what made me not get into Friday the 13th, and Halloween for that matter. I still haven't seen half of those movies. Is because the idea of a killer with who's just like, that doesn't really interest me. I like more creative things. But that being said, there were more creative kills in this than just machete, So that's good. I'm warming up to it in that sense, and I am genuinely enjoying the series so far. I just am waiting for that one that really grabs me, and I haven't seen it in the first 3 yet. So take that for what it's worth. And I am a child of the 80s, so I'm not biased for new movies or anything like that either. Nightmare on Elm Street I love, so I mean, maybe that's just more my thing because it's literally like the most creative kills you can think of, comparatively speaking. But at the same time, I'm not shitting on Jason, and I have to make a point of saying this so that nobody thinks I'm being an asshole or I'm not. My opinion is garbage anyway, because who the hell am I? But like, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Take that for what it is. So it boils down to, it was an okay, somewhat generic slasher movie in a legendary series that I'm still waiting for that one movie in it to grab me. That's what I'm gonna say. What am I gonna rate it? Just shy of a 6. I'm gonna give it like a 5.99. Because again, it was decent. Like, it's not bad. Just it wasn't groundbreaking to me. Should you watch it though? Yes, but watch it in order. You have to watch that first one and the second one and the third one, because the endings and beginnings of those 3 blend together into like one continuous story. And if you just jump in and watch whatever one you want, which I'm glad I didn't do, you're gonna have the endings of other movies spoiled for you. So yes, I would say watch it in order, the series, at least up until this point. I don't know if they keep doing that throughout the series. I guess I'm gonna find out. I think we have one more Friday the 13th this year, so that'll be when I do an episode for part 4. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I didn't hit my under 20-minute thing. I think I went just over it, but that's basically what I have to say about that. That was Friday the 13th part 2. Check it out in order after you watch the first 2. All right, peace.